Good evening, fuckers. We are back with the next Train Simulator Classic request video. This one may not be the video that one or two people will be expecting, but there's very good reason for that, and I suspect it will become very obvious when the next video comes along, because that will be the video that one or two of you are expecting. And well, I think you'll see why it got delayed by just, you know, one extra vid. It's not the end of the world, it is definitely coming. So this one has us returning to the Huddersfield Line, as it's referred to within the game. It is called the Trans-Pennine Express, or the Trans-Pennine service anyway. And we are going to be starting at Leeds, platform 13, and we are of course making our way to Manchester, Victoria. We're so it's about was it 43 miles or so. We will be stopping at all stations because, yeah, the train we are in is very much an all stops service. That train is a class 158, and this is the reason why I'm doing this video, because this is the Armstrong Powerhouse class 158, specifically the Cummins engine version. And I've had this thing for about, well, 3 weeks, maybe even a bit longer than that. And it's never made an appearance in this channel. In fact, I've probably not even driven a mile in either the 158 or the 159, because it does come with both. So I thought it was about time that I did. Now, one thing that is for certain, there is no shortage of liveries and variants of the Cummins engined 158 and 159. We are specifically going to be the First Trans-Pennine Express liveried version. We are going to be choosing a 3-car train. I mean, I've got to be honest, I had no idea. I'll drop my ICOS. I had no idea that there was such thing as a 3-car class 158. I mean, 158s are not my forte. They're not my favourite train in the world, but they're certainly not the worst. I do prefer the 159. It is a reasonably amount more powerful. Although one of the reasons why it was a good amount more powerful was the fact that they run as 3 cars, whereas the 158, as far as I was aware, always ran as a 2-car. So the fact that this is a 3-car one means we are practically going to be we are going to have the power of a 159. So be good to see if that makes any difference, and of course it would be good to see how the Armstrong Powerhouse 158 compares to the DTG 158. Right, so as for the specifics, it is spring, it is raining, and it is 10:30 AM. So there we go. That is the setup. Let's get this underway. Incidentally, I have 2 guests behind me again. The black cat that's there is a different black cat to the one that was there in the previous video. So now all 3 of the cats have made guest appearances in these videos. Okay, so here we are. Let's get the cab set up. And we do have a bit of a speed or lack thereof, frames per second I should say, issue when we're around Leeds. That will be sorted out once we are out of here. Right, let's get the lights sorted out. So we want daylight running, turn the tail lights off. Get the destination board running. I'm trying to, I think the number we want is 119. Yep, Manchester Victoria, that is where we are heading. So here is our class 158. Even though the livery is a bit of a sort of, yeah, mixture of the First Trans-Pennine and the actual Trans-Pennine Express, I do quite like it. It's not a bad looking one. Right, despite the rain, we will have the windows open so we can hear yeah, the actual train sounds a bit more clearly. This is another of those Armstrong Powerhouse ones that has, yeah, it is a bit on the quiet side. Also, yeah, without, if I open the doors, let the passengers on, as the class 47 Intercity is pulling up right next to us. Once we have the passengers on board, we can get underway. So Manchester Victoria, 42.9 miles, and like I say, we will be stopping at all stations because, yeah, 158 it would do that. Okay, let's get underway. .15 mph limit as we are pulling out of Leeds station here. Leave the stationary 47 behind. There's another 47 there. I thought it was so it might have been something a bit different, but no. Well, the first thing that I can certainly notice about this 158 compared to the Dovetail Gaines one is that there's no clipping around me, even though I'm zoomed right out. That is very welcome. The second thing that I notice is, yeah, a very typical Armstrong Powerhouse sort of trait. It's very quiet. The next thing I've noticed is, yeah, the engine is slightly slow, and I do mean slightly slow, to respond to the throttle inputs, which, as far as I'm aware, that is actually quite accurate. That's a good addition. Oh, no problem with that. Makes it a little more awkward to drive, but yeah, I'm okay with that. So we're into a 30 zone. Obviously, once we are in that 75 zone, we will really get it up to speed. Just double check, yep, the Manchester Victoria destination board is fine. Now, it has been a little while since I actually drove on this route, so I'm not entirely sure how frequently the stations crop up. So yeah, it's could certainly be interesting. Right, we're into the 75 zone. Let's get it, give it some 100% throttle. It is a shame that it is so quiet, and I can't really find any way of, I don't think there's like a thrash mode or something, so I can't make the engine sound any louder than they are. Our first station coming up already, Cottingley. Now, one thing I do certainly remember about the DTG 158 and 159 is that the brakes are extremely good. So let's see how they do in this one. I'll brake at about the same sort of point that I would brake if I was driving the DTG one. One in 104 uphill gradient is certainly impacting on our acceleration rate. In fact, it may also rather skew the braking here, so I may need to wait till we're on a more sort of like level part of the run. We're not exactly sport for choice though when it comes to level parts of the run when you're doing the Trans-Pennine route, but I don't know if it is, you know, being helped by the gradient we're on, but the brakes certainly seem to be extremely good. So here we are at Cottingley Station. I did press the, okay, yeah, doors are open. Right, let's get back underway. Whoa, the yeah, we were rolling back quite a bit there. You know, gradient we're on caught me a bit off guard there. Well, the FPS certainly seems to be much improved now that we have left Leeds behind. If memory serves, the last run that I did on the Trans-Pennine route was actually a night run. I think it was in an 802. It wasn't a bad run either. Right, we have Morley Station coming up. So that's warning us for the 45 that's coming up. Got no problem with that. Didn't think I'd need to put it on the full service, but yeah, it appeared that it was needed. So this is Morley Station. Not a lot that we can really see around here, thanks to this extremely huge wall and the fact we got a tunnel, well, it's right in front of us. Alright, brakes off. We're rolling back again. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to obviously start applying throttle before the brakes come off. Although I have a feeling in the 158 doesn't work quite as straightforward as that. Right, so we're into a 75 zone. We can give it the full throttle treatment. This is a proper long old tunnel. This must be the longest tunnel on the Trans-Pennine route. There's no shortage of tunnels on this route either. Batley is coming up. We've got another 158 we just passed there. So we made it up to 72 mph. Can we hit the max before the station? Yeah, in fact we managed it easily. And we're also on a 1 in 138 downhill section, so we may need to brake a bit harder than I normally would do. So Batley is a fairly minor station, but next is Dewsbury, which yeah, that's not a minor station. Another 47 coming towards us. It looked like that was in the regional railways colours rather than the Trans-Pennine. I think full service brakes are very much the order of the day because we're still on that downward gradient. So here we are, this is Batley. Doors are shut, nothing from the guard. I'll just send mine. Alright. And away we go. So it's quite a short hop to the next stop, which is Dewsbury. The route display at the moment is still like too short range for me to be able to see if this downward gradient continues right the way to Dewsbury. I hope it doesn't, but on a route like this it is a somewhat faint hope. It does look like it does just continue downhill all the way. I think it starts to ease off a bit, but it's still downhill as we approach Dewsbury. Okay, 1 in 119, in fact it's got steeper. This could be a tricky one. Okay, now it has eased up 1 in 630. So I'm now coming in a bit too slow, really. We've got here another 47. Well, that one was in the Intercity Swallow livery. So we've got sort of liveries from all eras. So here we are at Dewsbury. I thought the station would be a bit more impressive than this. This station looks like a proper run-down shithole. Hey, look at it, just bits of corrugated bloody metal which is rusting away. In fact, that could even just be planks of wood. Very basic. Okay, so the next station is not too far away either. I didn't catch the name of it. Here it is, Ravensthorpe. Just a mile further up. We are still going downhill. I do think I may need to start braking a bit earlier than I'd like. We have also got our diversion coming up as we turn off this line onto the actual Trans-Pennine section, I think. So, this is Ravensthorpe. Looks like they've been pulling up a lot of lines to the side here. Actually, then they've got a road, so... yeah, this could have just been, yeah, a set of buffers here. Right, so we have for the MPH section, yeah, 40 mph speed reduction coming up pretty soon, so we won't go mad with the acceleration, we'll just go up to the 40. And once we're through those points, I think it was saying the next speed was 65, so we're still not going to be going back up to yeah, right away up to 75 again. In fact, it's only going up to 60. So it's not these points, we are being moved the other way onto this line here. There we go. So now in the 60 zone, we've got to start braking pretty soon anyway for Mirfield Station. And here we are. So yeah, Mirfield. Yeah. I mean, it might be the weather, but yeah, it does look like a bit of a grotty old place. If she wants this train, she's got to get a move on. Just dawdling along. She made it. Well, this one won't. Now is that yellow aspect for us? No, it's the other side. Okay. No, well, we have a speed increase coming up. It says, well, it may as well just be a 70, but I'll take that. Certainly no shortage of class 47s on this run. In real life, they are in the process of electrification of this route, which I thought we had just hit the 70. No. So yeah, I mean, I think the electrification is going to take quite a while, especially when you consider you know, the locations and that they've got to set it up in. You're right up in the Pennines, and you've got a good number of tunnels to be connected as well. Yeah, that's quite the task. I can't remember when the expected date of completion is, but I think, as with everything else rail related in this country, you can add a good couple of years to it. It certainly won't be done on time. It never is. I started braking way too early for this one. We are also on a uphill gradient again, 1 in 146. I think the ground might level out actually just as we are at the station, or it may not level out at all, which is most definitely what has happened. Okay, so this is Dayton station. Dayton as in Len by any chance? Oh, fuck's sake. Right, we want to get some throttle before releasing the brakes, because otherwise we're going to roll back. In fact, we are rolling back anyway. Yeah, the engines do not come in until... Right, what's happened here? There we go. So, yeah, the engines will not cut in at all prior to releasing the brakes. Once you have released the brakes, if you are applying power, you've got to take it back down to 0 again in order to get it to apply. I mean, I'm guessing it's obviously a safety feature, but it makes these uphill starts really bloody awkward. You can't really avoid rolling back. Well, actually, I'll say that I'm sure there is a way of avoiding rolling back, I just don't know how to do it. So 40 mph limit coming up. There's Y, Huddersfield station coming up. I'm pretty sure Huddersfield station is one of those that has tunnels at either side of it, sort of sandwiched between them. One of my guests is wanting to leave. Now he's gone, the other one will want to go pretty sharpish. In fact, yeah, yes he is. Oh. Yeah, that black cat is probably the most nervous of any of the ones we've had. I can only assume that, yeah, when she was with the previous owners, it was not a particularly good time for her. So clearly I was wrong about Huddersfield being sandwiched between two tunnels. It is just the one tunnel at the end here. That 47 is just pulling out. So, yep, here we are at Huddersfield Station. This is probably the best view of Huddersfield inside this shed, so yeah, the rest of it's outside. It's not exactly a beauty spot, is it, Huddersfield? So 30 mph limit as we reach the end of this platform. Now, I think once we're the other side of the tunnel, that's when we can go up to 50. That red aspect there is not for us. I forgot about the cab light that I had switched on earlier. Right, clearly that 50 mph is not the other end of the tunnel. Could well be that the 65 is. So we're going up a 1 in 95 gradient now. So we briefly emerge in the daylight, and then we're back into the darkness again. So now in the 65 zone, don't need to worry about throttling down. So the uphill climb has eased off slightly, 1 in 104. We're accelerating pretty good actually, considering this gradient we're on. So even though we've got the weight of a third unit, yeah, multiple units are not that heavy really, not compared to like locomotives and standard carriages. And of course they are providing additional power as well, so I think it's all adding up. It certainly feels more like I'm driving a 159 than a 158, which is fine by me. I mean, I don't hate the 158s. I'm not their biggest fan. They are a bit boring. But the 159s I do really like. So it may not make a great deal of sense, seeing as there's not a huge difference between the two. Yet another 47 coming by. So we passed plenty of 47s, but I think so far we've only passed one, yeah, one other 158. So Slowthwaite station is our next stop. It's coming up in a mile and a half. See how this 1 in 111 gradient helps us with the braking. I mean, we're braking bloody hard anyway. Yeah, it helped a bit too well. So yeah, very staggered platforms. This one platform on the other line was finished before this one even starts. Yeah, it's quite a short one as well. I'm sure all three got on here just fine. Yeah. So this is Slowthwaite. Again, rolling backwards. See if we have a passenger view. Yeah, we do. Get a bit more speed up. We'll see if we can get some trackside shots of this. We do have Marston Station coming up, so we'll have one more stab. Right, we'll try again in a bit if I remember. It's another very short platform here. I think actually we're coming in a bit. In fact, yeah, we may even be braking a bit too fast here. There we go. So, yeah, Marston Station, which is on a 1 in 104 gradient, so we are definitely going to start rolling backwards as we try and leave here. Well, we didn't roll back as much as I thought we were going to. I mean, it wasn't great by any stretch, but yeah, I thought it was going to be worse than that. Another pretty hefty tunnel that we are in. We'll soon be able to speed up though to 85. Here we go. I have a feeling that 60 and 65 may be the end of the tunnel, so we will need to brake a little just before then, obviously, seeing as we are doing over 70 at the moment. Pretty sure this is the fastest we've done on the route so far. Yeah, I've got to start braking a bit. There we go. We're all right. We may need to control our speed a bit through some braking here. And we have a station coming up, Greenfield. It's a long old way away. Let's bring us down to 60. And if we take the brakes off, we start picking up speed again. Oh, this is a short one. Oh, a horrible feeling I may have left the braking a bit late. Or I may have got it absolutely spot on. There we go, not bad at all actually. So, Greenfield. And by this route standards, this looks like quite a nice spot. Well, it certainly won't be rolling back here. So, Mossley, the next station, about a mile and a half away. What a train horn that was. Another fairly short platform here. In fact, so much so I'm going to have to put it into step 3. Right. So yeah, Mossley. Certainly quite the ornate station building there. She's missed that one. So 1 in 124 downhill and full throttle. Yeah, no surprise that acceleration rate is pretty good. And when you consider the 158s, especially nowadays, are rather sort of like limited to just somewhat short commuter runs. I mean, these things were capable of doing intercity runs. I mean, alright, not high speed trains, you wouldn't be doing, you know, London to Glasgow in one of these, but you know, some of the like cross country routes, so things like, you know, Norwich to Birmingham, yeah, no problem. You know, Portsmouth or Southampton to Cardiff, no problem. But the 159s do, I don't know if they still do that route, but I know they did. So Staley Bridge next. I seem to recall that is our penultimate stop. I mean, Staley Bridge is certainly outer Manchester, so I mean, we are still as near as, damn it, 9 miles from Manchester Victoria, so I'll be surprised if it is the penultimate stop, but I know whenever I usually do this run, Staley Bridge, if I'm coming the other way, you know, starting at Manchester, Staley Bridge is always the first station. I don't usually do all stops runs when I'm doing this this route. Normally I'll start at Manchester, I'll stop at Staley Bridge, Huddersfield and Leeds, and that's it, you know. Well, we do actually have another 158. So we will be crossing points once we leave this station. So yeah, well, the 158 there, he's buggering off. That's definitely the regional railways colours. So this must be set sometime sort of like late 80s, maybe early 90s. And yeah, here's me in this livery. So I am looking at a bit out of place, which is nothing unusual for me. So 25 mph limit as we will be going over these points. And then going over the next set as well. So clearly that was not the penultimate station. I thought it seemed a bit unlikely. So Ashton under Line is our next stop. Now, yeah, might be a good time to actually remember to turn off the cab light. Quite the island platform there. How the hell do you get to it? Oh, it must be yeah, underpass here. Here's the entrance. So you would emerge out here, I'd imagine. So that was Ashton under Line. now on a 1 in 184 downhill gradient. It looks a lot steeper than that on the route display, but well, this is it. Oh, now 1 in 100, yeah, that's more like it. We have a slight speed reduction coming up in a mile and a half. We need to lose 5 mph, that won't be a problem. We've got a really hefty downhill gradient coming up in yeah, just over a mile. So we have a what's left of an abandoned station here. Let's see what this gradient is like. Well, 1 in 116 at the moment. There goes another 158 just up ahead. So now 1 in 119. So we're now in the 50 zone, 1 in 47 downhill. So that other 158 looks like it's really slowed down some. We are catching it up, but quite a slow rate. As it is, Victoria, Manchester, Victoria, just 3/4 of a mile away. Another 47 passing us by. That other 158 has overtaken us again. I thought I had the brakes on release, but nope. No wonder he overtook us again. Slow down a bit because, yeah, a lot of those things in the rails to trigger TPWS, which I really don't want. Yeah, we can stop here. This is fine. Let's turn off the windscreen wipers. Or at least I thought I had. And there we are. That then was Leeds to Manchester, Victoria on the Huddersfield Line, aka Trans-Pennine line, in the Class 158, the Armstrong Powerhouse version. Well, the Armstrong Powerhouse version of the Cummins engine 158. Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good drive. I've made no secret that I'm not the biggest fan of this route, but I thought it would be an okay route to try this particular loco on. I'm amazed I only got one speeding error. That is, yeah, that's doing really well for me, especially on this route. So yeah, it's a reasonably challenging route for this loco. A lot of gradients to be dealing with, and it drove really well. The only problem was, yeah, the age-old problem with Armstrong Powerhouse. The audio's just too quiet, and it would be so much better if you could actually hear the bloody thing. But no. Anyway, there we go. So that is, yeah, that is that video done. It weren't bad. Yeah, I'm alright with that. And I do like how the 158 drives. I've got to try the 159 next. I think that'll be quite something. But yeah, there we go. That is that video done. And we will see you at the next one.